Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Tax Matters. I'm Chiamaka Ohaochi. We'll begin with cheering news for reporting financial institutions under the Automatic Exchange of Information Common Reporting Standards. The deadline for filing reports has been extended to October 31st, 2020. This is the second extension. The first extension being the extension of the deadline from 31st of May 2020 to the 30th of September due to the COVID-19 lockdown. According to the FRS, it has provided this window of grace in response to several requests received from reporting financial institutions, highlighting their constraints in meeting the September deadline. These constraints include disruption of activities occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic and the novelty of the Automatic Exchange of Information Common Reporting Standards filing software. We advise that reporting financial institutions take full advantage of this gesture of the FRS. The last 2 weeks have been characterized by protests across the land, which have centered largely around securing the lives and properties of the citizenry. But one theme that came out distinctly and which everybody seems to agree upon is the need for government to equip, train and adequately take care of the welfare of policemen and women. We also record that within the same period, President Muhammadu Buhari announced the approval of increment of salary as well as elongation of years of service for teachers. If you ask me, all these will cost money, money, money. And if you ask me again, where will this money come from? Taxes. Yes, taxes, because the trend all over the world is to depend less on so-called natural resources, but rather on taxes, the contribution of all and sundry to the common pool. Today on Tax Matters, we are going to look at the different efforts being made to raise Nigerians' revenue profile. We will be bringing you stories of 2 delegations that came calling at Revenue House Abuja, stories that will convince you that all hands are indeed on deck to raise the revenue profile of Nigeria. But before then, our tax clinic. Today, we are looking at stamp duty, how to pay. Stamp duty is not new in Nigeria. The Principal Act dates back to 1939. That Principal Act has, over the years, undergone several amendments, the most recent being the amendments introduced by the Finance Act 2019. Stamp duty is chargeable on both physical and electronic instruments. Stamp duty is administered at 2 levels, the FRS and the State Internal Revenue Services. Mr. Rotimi Jones is the Stamp Duty Commissioner, Lagos Island Stamp Duty Office of the FRS. Mr. Jones, welcome to Tax Matters. So we are looking at stamp duties, how to pay. Now, how do I get adjudication or assessment for stamp duty? That is, who determines what is due?
Okay. First and foremost, I would like to define what adjudication means. Adjudication simply means expression of an amount to be paid on an instrument by the Commissioner for Stamp Duty. That is adjudication. But I want you to also know that we are in the era of self-assessment, whereby taxpayers or duty payers, in the case of stamp duty, we call them duty payers, they can self-assess themselves, provided they have the accurate information about the instrument to be assessed. That is, they know the classification of that instrument, either ad valorem or nominal. Because if a duty payer assess an instrument who is to be ad valorem in value as a nominal, that would be wrong. So if that payer knows that classification of that instrument, either ad valorem or nominal, and he or she, the duty payer knows the accurate or the applicable tax rate, it's good to go. It can do the adjudication. But it's advisable to bring such instrument to Stamp Duty Commissioner for assessment for proper adjudication.
All right, sir. Now, please take us through a step-by-step process of paying stamp duty.
Good. Stamp duty can be paid basically in two ways. You can do physical stamping. That's physical payment for physical stamping. So also you can do online payment. Now, for ease of doing business, FRS has already migrated to online payment, and that's what we are encouraging now, that duty payers should pay all their duties using our designated platform called Integrated Stamp Duty Service Platform. That platform allows for end-to-end transaction on a stamp duty. That is, on that platform, you can do registration, assessment can be made, payment will be made, and there will be e-certificate issuance to acknowledge your payment for stamp duty. Before you can log in, you have to sign up. For you to be a beneficiary of that online portal, to be a user, you need to sign up. The platform is www.stampduty.gov.ng. So when you log into that platform, you understand, it will show you log in and sign up. Now to register, you sign up. You understand? When you sign up, you have an account. You have individual account, corporate account, and MDS account. But for the sake of this interview, let's talk about individual account. So when you click on individual account to register and to be a beneficiary of that platform, the individual account will show you some fields to be filled. Your name, your age, country, gender, and email. Most importantly, that email must be a functional one. And then we give you user's account name and then your password. Because after that one, you now save and continue. Automatically, you are registered. So there will be an information on your functional mail. So in that your functional mail, you now click verification. That verification will take you to the home page of that platform. Now you now become a beneficiary. Anytime, any day, at your convenience, in your room, in a party, since you have the data on your phone, you can pay stamp duty. All instrument heads have been migrated to that platform. We have about 54 instrument heads for stamp duty. Now, after you might have verified that verification, it will take you to home page of ISDS. That's Integrated Stamp Duty Services, ISDS. In that ISDS homepage, you will see services because you want to enjoy our service. You click on that service will give you all the instrument heads. And then you now click on the instrument heads you want to work on. As I've already said, we have about 54 instrument heads. So that instrument heads is arranged alphabetically to ease the search. Also, there is a search box within that in that page. You can just, if you want to, let's say you want to work on deed of assignment, you can just put deed of assignment or memorandum of association. Just click it in that search box. It will take you directly to that instrument. Now, when it takes you to that instrument page to work on, in that instrument page, you will have to fill certain fields that have to do with parties involved in that transaction. First party, second party, some require third parties. It depends on the way the agreement is structured. So basically, what we expect more is two parties. You understand? No, something is about agreement between two parties. Now, the platform allows for you to, there's a place they call save and hard and save and continue. You will not go to that save and continue. You will start from that save and hard. So that's why you had the beneficiary, the parties. But in that page, something is very, very important. Out of the two parties, one of the parties is the beneficiary, that's the principal party, that is paying the stamp duty. You must have the tin of that. The tin is necessary to be filled. It's compulsory. So after the filling, You had other parties. After the filling, you had the other parties. Like that, the platform will be showing you save and add, until you complete the parties. After the completion of the parties involved in the document, in the instrument, then on that page you will see save and what? And continue. So when you click save and continue, it will take you to another page that talks description of what you have already put in the initial page. The first party, the second party, the address, the email. In that next page, it will show you description. It could be, what are you doing? You see alteration of memo? You can just put there, alteration of memo. Then it show you description. And that thing that is important there too, it allows for, documents. They normally have extra copies. Some people call it counterpart copies. So in that very page, it will show you whether you want to add additional extra copy. So you now fill in that box if you're adding 1 or 2 in a numeric figure, not in Word. When you now do that, you understand, you now click. You understand? When you click save and continue. Very friendly a platform. It's taken to another page. Where that page will reflect all the assessment because it's self-assessment. It will automatically assess you. The system will automatically assess you. In that assessment page, there is a payment platform there. So in that payment platform, it has an option. It can either be NIPS or remitter. When you now click on NIPS or remitter, that NIPS will take you to the next page. That's NIPS payment platform. And then in that NIPS payment platform, you see the page. I always advise taxpayers to print out that page because there's a particular number there. They call it ISDH payment ID. Very, very compulsory because if there's any issue with your payment, they can use that number to track it. After that page, the payment it will take you to that's NIPS payment platform. You now take you to make payment. You make payment via your debit cards. So when you now make the payment, that's online payment to your debit cards. But two things is this: that when you click that NIPS, it gives you 2 options. You understand? It's either you make online payment or bank. You just print that page and go to the bank and bet. When people if you want to complete all the processes on the platform, just click online. When you click the online, you give you the information to be supplied, the fee to be filled, and that's information on your debit card. You input those information from there. It will tell you payment successful, and from there you'll be able to view that certificate to acknowledge the payment for that stamp duty. But I want to clear something here. Duty payers are not comfortable anytime they see this thing. They still believe that they have to take that instrument back to stamp duty office for stamping because this mentality of red impression on their document. You understand? But Finance Act 2019 has addressed this issue, that electronic receipt suffices for what? For stamping. When you do your process to this level, you can view it, you understand, on that very platform. Everything about that instrument has been summarized in this page, on this certificate. You understand? And the fear is that, okay, where you are taking it to, how would they know? You understand? It's not difficult to know. The platform provides avenue for verification. You go to our home page, you will see verification. You just click verification and input the certificate number. You see this certificate number and this one here. It will show you, you can easily verify the authenticity of this certificate.
There you are, as easy as ABC.
This kind of nonsense has to end today. Why would the bank be removing somebody's money every time like that?
Mr. John.
My neighbor.
Yes, sir. Why are you rushing to like this?
Can you imagine? I just sent money to my son and I got a debit alert of 15 naira from my bank as stamp duty. I am going to seek explanation from my bank because I made a transfer, not post a letter.
Mr. John, let me explain what stamp duty is. Stamp duty is not all about postage stamp matters. The 15 naira is a stamp duty levy charged by banks on customers who make transfers of 10,000 naira and above from one bank account to another bank account.
And why should I pay stamp duty for my hard-earned money?
Mr. John, paying stamp duty levy is a civic duty for every patriotic citizen. The taxes we all pay are collected and used by the government to pay salaries and provide basic amenities for citizens. It's even easier to make stamp duty payments now. All you need to do as a taxpayer is to log on to the following: www.stampduty.gov.ng or www.firs.gov.ng and click on e-stamping. By the way, Mr. John, it pays to pay your tax, you know.
Oh, thank you very
Yes,
much.
sir.
Thank you, my daughter.
You're welcome,
My
sir.
regards to your family.
All right, sir.
This broadcast is powered by FIRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service.
Thank you for staying with us. We'll move on to Revenue House in Abuja, where two powerful delegations came calling the other week. We'll begin with the visit of a delegation of the Code of Conduct Bureau. In matters relating to personal income tax, assessment of persons to tax is by practice based on what in tax lexicon is referred to as worldwide income. When an individual files personal income tax returns, he or she is supposed to disclose his or her worldwide income. To ensure that this rule is complied with, especially by high net worth individuals and those regarded as politically exposed persons, the Code of Conduct Bureau was established in Nigeria in 1979. The Code of Conduct Bureau, led by its chairman, Professor Muhammad Isa, came calling at Revenue House on Tuesday, the 6th of October 2020.
FIRS, we know, is the main tax collector in the country. Not only a tax collector, but it enforces laws relating to tax collection. In 2018, voluntary asset and income declaration scheme was introduced. And at the same time also, another sister scheme was introduced, that is voluntary offshore regularization scheme was introduced to ensure that we harness all the necessary all the necessary potentials we have for generating our revenue effectively.
Having drawn the nexus between tax payment and national development, Professor Issa proceeded to situate the place of the Code of Conduct Bureau in the whole matrix and the imperatives of collaboration between the CCB and the FIRS.
CCB is a primary anti-corruption agency, and its powers are entrenched in the Constitution. CCB has a special position in fight against corruption in this country. It does what no any other anti-corruption agency do. That is asset declaration administration. It enforces what is called Code of Conduct for Public Officers as enshrined under the 5th schedule of the Constitution. In this respect, we have so much to share with the FIRS, and there are certain declarations that are made that may be very useful in enhancing the tax, the revenue collection by the FIRS. Also, the Code of Conduct Bureau in the area of collaboration can still benefit, particularly when it is verifying, because it does not only take asset declaration, keep custody and verify for the sake of verification, but that verification is an aspect of investigation. Where we have a public officer who voluntarily declared his assets and income with the FIRS, we can as well ask for information, share information of that public officer to compare with our own asset declaration which he has made, to see whether those assets and income are actually declared in his asset declaration form in our custody.
See, there is no hiding place for the tax dodger.
So in this respect, our mission, sir, is to collaborate. We have so much in common. We enforce the law, and we also ensure that the issue of assets are well declared. So in any form it has been declared, it is very important, not for only the Code of Conduct Bureau or FIRS, but for the benefit of Nigeria and Nigerians generally.
In his response, Chief Host Mr. Muhammad Nami linked the quest of the CCB for cooperation and collaboration with FIRS to the ongoing reform of the tax administration system being carried out by his administration.
We appreciate all that you have said, Professor Mohammed, and we also appreciate the interest you have in collaborating with Federal Revenue. This is actually in tandem with the reform that we have collectively carried out since we were appointed in December last year. The reforms have been on issues that will result to providing an opportunity, so to say, for the country to diversify its economy from oil dependence, the monoproduct economy, to also an on-oil opportunities that abound everywhere in this country. We came to a conclusion based on records and facts on ground that Nigeria should be the most blessed country on earth. So if we have potentials, why don't we tap them? And the first one is how to improve on non-oil tax revenue. All the reforms we have carried out have been challenged, unfortunately, by the impact of COVID-19. Before now, on a monthly basis, we collect from oil sector a monthly PPT of about 300 to 350 billion voluntarily from these taxpayers. But because of this huge impact that COVID-19 is currently having on global economy, we hardly collect up to 52 billion now from that sector. So the figures of 500 billion you hear was making noise about on a monthly basis is largely as a result of the reform we have carried out, that we now have been able to diversify our attention from relying on voluntary remittance of PPT from the oil sector. So it is non-oil that we are now collecting. So the process has started with us, that Nigeria must look inward. We also have realized that we need to do more. And for us to be able to do more, we need support of critical stakeholders like you. And that is what your presentation is all about. So we need to continue to collaborate with you so that we're able to seamlessly exchange information. We're able to see what we can do to widen our tax net. The more of these people are able to bring to tax net, the better for this country.
The story of the second visit, which we promised to tell you, will have to wait till next week. And that is the story of the visit of a delegation from the Osman Danfodio University, Sokoto. We thank you most sincerely for watching. Remember, the 22nd Annual Tax Conference holds in Lagos from the 4th to the 6th of November 2020. See you there.